So hi, it's Brian, the 70-year-old golfer, and people who watch my videos probably think all he spends his life on is on the range, hitting balls. I don't actually. I spend a lot of time trying to improve my short game as well, which I think for us 70-year-olds, I think it's one of the ways you can possibly save some shots. So I'm here at Denton Golf Club where I play, and I'm going to just show you around. So this is our practice putting green. It's quite large actually, you can get a lot of golfers on here, and we've actually got in the surface, we've got some of these little tiny small holes. A few golf clubs have these, and they really do focus your attention, considering the hole is only just bigger than an actual golf ball. And we've got a couple of these up in this area. And then as we walk down, we've got an area down here, and the first thing you notice on our practice greens is that they're quite slopey. And this is what's one of the benefits of them actually, is because you can actually recreate putts that you actually get on the golf course itself. So that's the putting green. Once again, very large, and you can actually hit some really long putts here. And there's some flat areas like here where you can practice your putting drills, things like that. And then we come to our small short game area. It's not massive, but we do have the practice range as well, and you can actually play approximately 30-yard shots to the chipping green. Well, that's the chipping green. And finally, there's an area here which is our practice bunker. And we've only got one practice bunker, but it mimics some of the bunkers on the course. So that's practice bunker, and that's where I'll be next. So here I am in the practice bunker. The technique that I tend to use in bunkers, shown to me in the lesson, is basically to use what some people call a butterfly grip. And then to ensure that this foot and that knee are pointed towards the target. And this has been very successful for me. It might not suit everybody. So a nice shot, quite a bit of backspin when it's landed, and most important, it's up to the flag. So just hit another one off clean the club face, and the same technique again. About 6 feet past the flag. Flag is about 15 yards away. Not bad for a 70-year-old. Just one more. I don't really hear the noise, but that was me hitting the top of the flag. So there you go. So that's me in bunkers. I'm not saying it's the perfect technique for everyone. It certainly works for me today. I'm now going to go on to pitching, and I'm stood here, and the flag is up there. It's about 22 yards away. Now, I used to be absolutely rubbish at this type of shot. I used to duff it into the ground, thin it, just rubbish. And I went on a manufacturer's day whereby we just hit their new clubs, and we went round various things. And one of them was actually chipping, and I just stood back, and the guy approached me and he says, "Sir, why are you not taking part?" And I says, "Because I cannot chip and I don't want to waste your time and it's embarrassing for myself." And so he said, "Right, come to one side." And we went to one side away from the group, and he then said, "Okay, your issues are all caused by your setup, nothing else. You do accelerate through the ball, but your setup stops it happening. You do rotate, but your setup stops it happening. And I want you to try this setup." Now, I sometimes get nervous myself, and probably in front of this camera I'm going to do it, but this is what he said. So, I've got the ball here, and the first thing he said was, "Right, I want you to let that club drop, and I want you to make sure that when that club drops, that it's just in front of the ball." Now obviously you can't touch your ball when you're playing. The other thing he said is you need to get your weight, not leaning your whole body, not leaning just your legs, but just a tiny bit of everything, 60% on your left side. And the final thing is to go right down the shaft, because it gives you more control. And that's it. So let's just show it. So it's using the bounce of the club, some slight shaft lean, so not a brilliant shot. It's about 8 foot from the flag. From 22 yards, that's not bad, is it? So the important thing of this technique for me is that I make sure I don't rush into this shot on the course. So I've got to remember to walk into the ball, to literally do that with my mouth. It looks stupid, doesn't it? But the thing is, it makes you know where the club should be, and it gives you that slight shaft lean. And then ball, what looks like the centre of the stance, but in fact, and that's just slightly open, not a big open stance, a slightly open foot, and then literally making sure that you've got that weight, and then literally, it's even got some nice backspin on it. So that's me. It might not look perfect, but for you other 70-year-old golfers out there, this is where we need to make up our shots, don't we? Because we don't get on them long par fours in two, and we can suddenly find ourselves with maybe a 25-yard shot, which might get us up and down for a par. So that's me pitching. So I've just hit 20 pitches, and now I'm going to do some chipping. And once again, it's the same technique that the guy showed me. I don't want to say who he is, but he features in the golf magazines at least every month. So basically, same really. Tend to feet more together, he told me, and then literally try and keep a little bit of weight on your left hand side. It stops you leaning back when you go to hit this chip. Now I'm actually going to be using my 50-degree wedge. And why? Because I'm not a one-trick pony. I don't use a sand iron for chipping all the time. Sometimes this will be an 8 iron, but in this case, for a bit of practice, I'm going to be using 50-degree. And I'll just hit a couple of chips. Hold one. And I'm really pleased with those 3 I've just hit. I try not to be flicky on them. doesn't always happen. I've ended up with 3 good results there. So I'm going to carry on chipping, use my tube of 20 balls up, and then I'm off to the putting green. So here I am on the putting green, and I'm not going to remotely teach anyone how to putt. I'm going to say some of the things that are helping me. And the first thing is one of these. What do I use it for? Well, I don't use it for aligning myself up with the hole. I actually use it to measure putts. Why? How many times have you heard anyone come in the clubhouse and say, I'd have won the comp today if I hadn't have kept missing 3-foot putts? And you sometimes played with these people and you know the 3-foot putts are more like 5 or even 6 foot, but their perception is that it was actually a 3-foot putt. So what I do when I'm practicing, I actually use this cane which is marked off in 1-foot intervals, and what it does, it allows me to not have this perception as much on the course. So I'm not stood there thinking, okay, this is a 4-foot putt, when in fact it's more like a 7. And that really then takes it to, when you look at the PGA Tour, the make percentages of certain lengths of putts. And it's well-known fact that the make percentage for an 8-foot putt on the PGA Tour is something like 55, 50%. So are people at handicap level are saying they're as good as a PGA Tour pro when it comes to putting, and they should be making these 4-foot putts all the time, which are not really 4-foot putts, they're more like 6 or 7-foot putts. So that's what I use, and it's a really good tip, I think. And what I basically do is I mark out, I do clock putting, and I do certain distances and different distances for each of the putts, and I don't have that perception. Now, one of the other things is what helped me is I've actually done the aim point course with Jamie Donaldson, who, as most people know, he teaches on the PGA Tour. He's based out of Woburn in England. And there's a couple of things that he showed me. First of all was aim point. And aim point is just to make a point here, is not a slow system to use. The people who use it make it slow, and they don't have to do. I get my reads really quick, and I basically am ready to put as soon as it's my turn. I've never held anyone up. In fact, some people have said you seem to take a very short time on your putts. So that's aim point. So that's helped me out. And for some people who it may be worth looking at as a course for us older golfers, if you're still looking to improve like all the time, like I am. The other thing is what Jamie showed me is a way of actually helping with my speed, and it's pretty simple, really. Basically, what I do is I judge the speed of my putts like that, between feet. So if I want to hit a putt of a certain distance, and then what I do is I just widen my stance, and I widen my stance even more. And this basically gives me a really good feel. So that might help people as well. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to, for my routine, I'm just going to hit a few putts. And let's just see how we go. So the putt I've got here, and now I'm putting to the flag up there, and it's about 18 feet. So let's just see what we do. I'll just adjust the camera slightly so you can see where I'm going. So that first putt is an inch off the hole. That's a foot away to the left, so it's slightly pulled. And that's a bit short. So that's what I do on the putting green. And I'm going to spend a bit more time now, and I'm going to do some clock putting. I'm going to check on some of the slopey things. I'm going to do check some of my aim point reads and things like that. I'll spend about half an hour here. So that's my short game routine, folks. You don't have to watch these videos. I'm not teaching. I'm just trying to maybe see what could help other 70-year-old golfers actually try and get the handicap down. Have fun and good golf.